Hello, Mindful Challenge family. I am really excited about today's challenge because this one actually made the most profound change in the way I started nourishing my body and recognizing how much of an overeater I used to be. Remember, no judgment. So today we're going to focus on using the 1 through 10 hunger scale. And essentially what that is just a monitoring tool to help you understand when you're hungry, when you're content, when you're full, when you're stuffed, when your body is asking for food, and when your body is asking for you to stop. And a lot of times it can be, we can just eat on autopilot and not even be aware of our current eating habits. But the beauty of mindful eating is that regardless of whether you overeat or undereat, there's zero judgment, okay? So I really want you to focus hard on letting go of any kind of judgment and recognizing that that's diet culture. Probably more than likely, that's programming from diet culture. So the 1 through 10 hunger scale. 1 is falling on the floor, starving, possibly shaking and crying. It's what a diabetic would be going through when their blood sugar was significantly low. Don't ever want that type of situation. 10 is Thanksgiving Day full. And there's a place and a time for everything on the scale. And what happens though is a lot of times clients will start to recognize that they're not feeding themselves soon enough on the scale, and it leads to overeating. So before I get too ahead of myself, so just recognize that 1 is like small number, small stomach, and 10 is big number, big stomach, right? Like you've eaten a lot of food. So 5 would be a neutral, right? That would be, I'm not hungry, I'm not thinking about food, I'm just very, very neutral. You're just going about your day, right? So I'm going to start from 1 and go up to 10 and understand that 5 is neutral. So 1 is falling down on the floor, crying, shaking, very, very starving. 2 would be famished, okay? Like you're like, yeah, I really, really need to eat, but I'm not to that point where I'm about to die. And you legitimately would die if you didn't have enough blood sugar running through your body. That's when people go into a coma and die. So 1, we don't want to get to. 2 is uncomfortable too, where you're famished because it can set you up for overeating, which again, no judgment. 3 is hungry, like legitimately hungry. You might have a headache, you might have hunger pains, you may be having some sensations of, hey, I need to feed my body now. 4 is kinda. I call that I'm kinda hungry. Like you could eat, but you're not really physically, you're just kinda hungry, right? And kinda hungry is, you might be snacky. You know, it might just be that time of the day in the office where there's a lull. It might be that 4 o'clock witching hour and you're kind of hungry, but you're not really hungry. So that's kinda. I think everybody understands that. 5 again is neutral. You're not thinking about food. You are just kind of going about your day. 6 is content, which is a very interesting concept because content means you could eat more. You might be enjoying your food, but you're just content. You feel good. You don't feel stuffed. You don't feel hungry. You feel content. 7 is where you're starting to feel, where you can feel food in your body and you might feel what I would call full. 8 is very full. 9 is stuffed. And 10 is, like I mentioned, Thanksgiving Day full. So today I want you to rank your hunger levels on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, if you can't figure out how hungry you are before meals, you're more than welcome to use the hunger scale, before you eat and after you eat. That's absolutely, the intention of using the hunger scale is so that you can get to that point where you can start to identify, where your hunger levels are and then how you like to feel after your meals so that you can kind of monitor your intake. So personally for me, my mentor told me, and I love this phrase, hunger is the best seasoning. And so I really prefer to wait until I'm hungry, like more like a 3. There are days where I'm working with back-to-back clients and I might wait, and it might be where I'm getting kind of dangerously into like the 2 zone. But then I also recognize that when I get that hungry, I'm going to need more food to feel more content. So, just based, when you start working with this 1 through 10 hunger scale, you'll be able to identify visually how much food your body physically needs based on your actual hunger level. Now, I'm going to throw out a little caveat here, because the intention of using this 1 through 10 hunger scale is not so that you only reside between a 3 and a 7 or a 6. Although today I would like you to just kind of work with that concept of eating when you're hungry and stopping when you feel full or content, instead of stuffed or Thanksgiving Day full, or waiting so long until you're so hungry that you set yourself up for overeating. So that's called the hunger fullness diet, right? Like where you only eat when you're hungry and you only stop when you're full or content. We're not using the scale this way. Remember, there's no judgment. We are trying to just understand why we do what we do with food and understand our bodies a little bit more. So we're going to do this challenge for 2 days, and I encourage you to practice this one as long as you see fit, because it really made a huge difference in just me assessing how much food my body physically needed and why I might overeat or why I might, just eat a little bit. So it's super helpful. And I look forward to hearing about your experience with this if you feel like reaching out and sharing it. And I will see you for our next challenge. All right, take care.